I don't know where I belong. I got no place to call my home. All the people all around me just can't see the things that I can see. I'll find a friend, someone who'll help me understand that life won't always be this bad, and there's no reason to be sad because I'm free.
2, 3, 4.
What the fuck? Just my bloody luck. I'm drowning in a sea of fools, tortured by their stupid rules. I don't mind, I'll leave all that behind. I'll quit my job and quit my school and do just what I wanna do. I'm free. Yes, I'm free. Everywhere, people point and stare. A happy freak, they think it sucks. I don't fit inside their box. No 9 to 5, I just live my life. Forever playing with my toys, not like other girls and boys. Girls and boys, not like other girls and boys. Girls and boys. 'Cause I'm free, yeah, I'm free. Exactly where I wanna be, yeah, I'm free. So please don't bother me. I wish I could find the words to let you know that it's okay. You don't belong inside the herd. Forever children, we will play. We will play. Forever children, we will play. We will play.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to the show. Good Sunday evening. Hi, ladies.
Hello.
You can't hear me? Uh-oh, that means she's going to have to leave and come back.
Who's that?
Heather.
Oh.
She can't hear me. Yeah, she has to come back. She has to leave. Always something, isn't it? Every show, there's always some sort of technical difficulty. Anyway, how was your day?
It was good. I spent it at the beach.
How nice is that?
It was awesome. I needed it. Got some sunshine.
Sunshine, beach. Here she is.
There you are. I could see you guys, but I couldn't hear you at all.
Ta-da! It's like
Ta-da.
magic. It's like everyday magic. She just reappears, just like that. Anyway, how are you doing, Heather?
I'm doing good. We were just talking. I had to kind of get over myself this week. Speaking of things not always working out how you want them to or how you had envisioned in your head, and I kind of pouted and threw a fit this week, and then I got over myself.
I do that about every day. I throw a fit about every day on myself. Be on the ground, hitting and smacking my fist.
I mean, sometimes it's a good thing. Sometimes you have to just.
It's ridiculous the reason why I do it, though. I just want to do it because I think it looks cool.
I want a video of that.
No, you don't, because you guys will just blast all over Facebook like the damn shower with the dinosaurs. No, thank you. So we had humbling week and we had beach day.
Yeah.
I didn't.
How about you?
I didn't do anything today.
You didn't do anything today?
No, I really didn't. No, I didn't really do anything. Not at all.
But
yeah,
you
radio show.
Work on the
radio
weekends,
show.
though, right? Most of your work is done on the weekends.
Yeah, so like all the behind the scenes stuff, like the radio shows, and when JCina does Talking with Demons, even though they're hosting, I'm still there. So everything that goes on, I'm still like physically there. So yeah, my weekends are usually busy. So starting like Friday all the way up till fucking Sunday now tonight. So when I get to this show, like right before, I'm just sort of like, oh, I am tired, man. I should have took a nap today. As soon as we go live, it's like the energy's kind of just goes up, and I'm ready to do this thing.
Right, you're like, woo, let's do it.
Not really. I'm trying. I'm getting there. I'm still trying to hype myself up.
That's okay.
Well, it was a light night for me anyway. Me and the family went to go check out the new Thor, Love and Thunder movie, and the drive-in. So that it was packed. It's like really packed, but it was a good flick. At this theater, there's only I think one or two in the state of Indiana, and I'm lucky enough to be right like 5 minutes literally away from the drive-in from my house.
That's crazy. We were just talking about Vegas used to have a drive-in.
Mm-hmm.
I guess they recently closed it, which is super sad because I think people just didn't know it was there. Drive-ins is a lost. There's nothing like going to a drive-in in
United States history. I mean, the whole essence of it is you're taking your family, you're going out, you're spending time. I can remember back in the day, you was allowed to bring your charcoal grill, your cooler, and you was allowed to cook out and pop cans and drink.
Yeah.
I mean, you can still do that now. You can bring your own cooler of drinks, and I've seen people come in with some steak and shake and some rallies, and they're just sitting there chilling. So I mean, it's still it's got that feel, but it's got like a playground right there at one end of the theater park, so that's really cool for the kids. And it was full of thunder.
I remember my mom used to make a big old thing of popcorn. So we always brought homemade popcorn and then whatever other snacks we wanted. And
I mean, back then they charge you by the carload, so
yeah,
more people you have in the car. So my dad had station wagons. I don't know if anybody ever remembers having any station wagons as a kid. My family had the station wagon, and I can remember me getting put in the very back of it. You can fold the seats up, and they turn into like a little lounge area, right? And me and all the kids would pile up in the back and throw blankets over, so we didn't get charged going in.
Right.
Security walked by. Where the hell all these kids come from? Here comes 20 kids piling out of a station wagon.
Right. I have a friend who lives in Idaho, and she has a classic car, and they have classic car night at their local drive-in. So they just did that recently, which I thought was really cool. So then you go and there's a sea of classic cars, and everyone comes out and watches a movie with their family.
We have something like that similar in Tennessee. They had called the Rod Runs, and the Route 66 would just be filled with classic cars, and then they have bike weekend. So it'd be nothing but Harley Davidsons, because there was the Dragon's Tail route that they would take from Gatlinburg to South Carolina, I believe, Cherokee. Yeah, I think it's Cherokee. So they all do this big rally and ride up there. So there'd be thousands of motorcycles, hundreds of cars on Rod Runs. Ain't nothing cooler than driving down from your house and going to work, and instead of seeing buildings in the city, you see nothing but Smoky Mountain outlines as you're driving to work.
Yes, that sounds beautiful.
It is. Let's say hello to everybody. We got Rex here. Hello, Rex. How are you doing?
Hi, Rex.
Welcome everybody, by the way, to Everyday Magic. Looks like Naked Dan's here. Geist Baron. Hello, how are you? Raven is here.
Hi,
Raven.
Is it morning or evening for Raven?
Well, Australia.
I think it's middle of the night.
I was going to say it's probably 4 in the morning for her.
Guy says it's been so lazy here in Virginia. I think that's going around.
Right? We were all just talking about that.
Mia Bug. Hi, Mom. Hello, Mom.
Hi, Mom.
Hello, Mom. Obsessed with tea. Hello.
I think we have some followers.
I've always wanted to go to a drive-in movie. It's like a national treasure, really, if you think about it.
Yeah.
And you're right. There's so many that's gone away. They're very far and few in between, and it's sad because it's a national treasure in my mind.
You would think that they would have COVID would have made them come back, because you could social distance and still watch
Yeah.
a movie, right? Because you could, like the parking
Well, that would
spaces
make
are far
sense.
enough away. But
That would make sense. It's 10 a.m. there. It's morning time. She's having
well, good morning, Raven.
toast and coffee, hanging out with us.
I can't wait to get to know you better.
But yeah, that's what I did yesterday. Thor: Love and Thunder. I ruined it for Luna though. I gave spoilers away in chat, and I don't think she's gotten over it yet today. I'm gonna keep
No,
rubbing
I
it.
haven't.
I'm gonna keep rubbing it in though.
Yeah, I know you will.
I'm glad I didn't read this text.
Yeah.
It really can't be spoilers, right, to a movie if you can already find it all over the internet, right?
But I don't go looking for that.
You don't look for
Well, luckily
I don't
for
follow
you,
things like
you have
that
a
on
good
purpose.
friend. Luckily for you, you got a good friend in me that's willing to give you the energy to say, "Hey, this was what happened in the movie."
This isn't the first
Here are the
movie
main-
that
all the
you've
main
spoiled for me, though.
Yeah, here is all the main sequences in the movie. So when you're more prepared when you watch the movie, you can expect what's going to happen because you already fucking know.
Yeah. It's kind of like when you ruined Doctor Strange for me. I hadn't seen it yet. You're like, oh, this wasn't any good. It was this. It was that.
You're the only one I'm getting.
But you have to watch it and then determine for yourself. His hype about it, you could watch it and go, eh. Or like, I really enjoyed Doctor Strange.
I watched it 3 times just to make sure that it was me coming up with the idea that it was.
I really liked it.
Bad and
Did we lose her?
Did we lose
yeah,
her?
that it was bad. I didn't enjoy. I'm back.
She didn't.
You didn't like it?
No.
That's funny.
I mean, I thought it was an okay flick. Here's my issue with Doctor Strange. I like Benjamin Cumberbatch. Is that his name?
Cumberbatch, yeah.
Whatever his name is. I like the guy, I guess, but it's just the wig I think that throws me off, and the story wasn't told very well either. But I did like seeing Scarlet Witch go badass. I enjoyed that. I like seeing her going just like totally ballistic.
Nope.
That's the part you hated, right?
I didn't like. Right, was her.
That was my favorite part.
And then watching Patrick Stewart die.
By the snap of the neck. By the snap of the neck.
I had to pause that and have a moment of silence. Like, I seriously stopped the
To the
movie.
floor in
I
the fetal
did.
position, trembling.
So then when you think of
Help her come out.
Professor, no. Bitch. She was the whole time they changed up from the comic books to the actual movies, so the stories changed. She was originally meant to be a bad guy anyway, a bad woman or an evil person, whatever. That was her always. That was her always her MO. She was the daughter of Magneto.
Makes sense. So I think sometimes because I'm so like not a super like I don't read comics. I don't like none of those things. That I get to enjoy movies on like a childlike level of innocence because I have zero expectations when I go into these. You know what I mean? So I get to just go in and go, oh, that was pretty cool. And like, I don't know, with Doctor Strange, I kind of liked the multiverse. Like just in general, that whole idea and how that
I admit that's pretty neat.
True. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like
I get involved in the story. I think is what for me. I get involved into the storylines of the individual characters because MCU is really good about building up the characters with some sort of backstory and reason why certain things happen in their life. Like with Scarlet Witch,
right?
The whole character went through so much trauma in her life. Kind of ironic that we're talking about this when our title for the last few weeks has been about getting over trauma and letting things go and learn how to move on. That character. Exactly, right there in a sense, right there. says it all. She had a lot of things bad happen to her from a young age. She was the story for as far as the cinematic universe goes. As a child, her and her brother were put in with Hydra, which is like, let's say, Nazi terms
Right.
for the MCU universe. So she spent all this time in prison being tortured, experimented on, and then later on her brother dies, and then she finally starts to find love again in another character named Vision. She loses him, and then she starts making up these illusions in her head about having kids, and then that's snatched from her till she finally snaps.
Yeah.
Kind of like what we do sometimes when we don't deal with our own shit.
That is true. That is very true.
I'm gonna start doing lessons with Marvel and
right. But I mean, you're not wrong in that. Like, eventually, if you don't really deal with all the anger, it comes out in some way. You know, it's going to manifest into something, and sometimes it's explosions, and it's not pretty. And you know, when you hurt people, right? Like, because you don't know what else to do.
That's it. And it's a good example of like keeping things in and not actually dealing with them as they're coming to you. The classic example of take it away and shove it in the back of the filing cabinet in your mind, and I'll get back to that later, until all of a sudden, boom.
Or just letting the rage and hurt of something feed your whole entire being, and that becomes your purpose. Right. So yeah, and that can be, you know, a lot of things on a lot of different levels, right? You can take that in a lot of different ways, you know.
And another good example of that trauma is like a good example, legendary comic book character Batman, Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
That's another good example of not dealing with your shit, and then ultimately you start doing things that try to say, hey, I'm making up for the things that I'm lacking in by going out and taking all this rage and anger that I've got built up on other people. Boom. It's comic book night, folks.
Yeah. With a lesson. What do you think, Miss Luna? You're awful quiet over there.
Well, my internet was being weird for a second, so I missed a little bit of what you were talking about, but I get the gist of it. It's the Marvel movies are pretty cool, and I think there's a little bit of truth in all of them. So
we were just comparing how people don't deal with shit. Another good example is Thor.
Yeah.
All that loss that he experienced, and then he kept on going and just kind of putting it away like we do. We something traumatic happens to us, we don't deal with it, we just put it away and hide it away, and I'll get to it later. And look at all the shit he went through to finally he snapped.
I don't know how many times in my life I said I don't have time for that. I remember going to therapy when you bring that up, right? Like, you shove it away and you say, I'm not going to deal with that, or I don't have time for that. And I was going through some really intense therapy. I went to really intense therapy for a year, and it was addiction therapy, which is what made me realize that, like, I had, you know, the addictions of just anything that numbed. I was an addict of whatever was numbing me at the time. And I know, Bob. See, I told you, as soon as I start talking about something serious, they're like making noise. Oh my gosh, where was I going with that?
You was probably going into phase 4 of Marvel Universe.
Oh, I said I didn't have time for that. There were times where, like, I would have a breakthrough in group therapy, and then I would say, and like my therapist was like, if you were anyone else, I would really want you to, like, go to a facility and, like, check yourself in and deal with some things. And I was an instructor at a college, and I taught 2 classes a day, and my daughter has a lot of mental stuff going on. And I looked at her and I go, well, that's nice, but I don't have time for all that. Like, I don't have time to have a breakdown. I don't have time to check out. I don't have to, like, I'm going to suck this up for another week until I come back, and then maybe I'll release a little more next week while I'm here, because I don't have time for all that. And in the end, it made me, like, really, I had to stop working. I felt like I was just one big walking wound. I felt like I couldn't hide it anymore. I was doing a lot of extracurricular activities because I was opening up all these wounds, but I wasn't really doing the work to clean the wounds out to let them heal. Right. So I just felt like all the bandages were just ripped off. And though to other people and on the outside, I was, you know, that strong individual that just kept it together all the time. But really, I just felt like, I'm like, how do you guys not see that I am just a hot fucking mess right now? And that every emotion and everything is just raw. And I just want to wig the fuck out. And it like turned into a really bad depression for a while until I finally went, oh, well, I'm not fucking living like this anymore. We need to do some shit. Like, this is ridiculous. I can't keep doing, like, I'm not going to live like this anymore. Yeah.
We got some hearts. Hearts and sunflower. Well, we all have our, you know, we talk about the first week of learning to accept things that we cannot change, things that have already happened, things we end up hiding ourselves. We have to learn how to accept every little thing that we've hidden ourselves from. And then we talked about learning how to let it go. Learn how to, all these things that we accepted, part of accepting them is learn how to let them go. And then, of course, you learn how, then from there, moving on from those situations. And we all kind of, you know, every day or every week, every month, whatever, we all have our lives, and we all kind of like are presented situations in our lives that we're not really exactly happy with. You know what I mean? Whatever that situation may be, or, you know, our cars broke down and we don't have the extra money to get it fixed, to, you know, oh, what am I going to do? I just ran out of laundry detergent and I don't want to walk to the store. There's, you know, different extremes to it, but things you cannot change. You got to either get it done or move on, right? So you learn how to move on and accept these things and letting go. But how does one learn how to live again? That's really tricky, right? Because if it's a situation where they're a drug addict and they've spent all these years masking who they are through the drugs, that, you know, we all know the faces of drug addictions. And you live your life, whether it's alcoholism, heroin addiction, or it's porn. We say porn, that's just as much of addiction, I guess, as well. Yeah. We hide from these masks, but once you start to let these things go and you're trying to move on, how do you start living again?
I think the first thing is getting past the fear. The scariest part of that is not knowing who you're going to be on the other side, right? You know who you are when you're carrying all the trauma and the baggage with you. It's what's going to happen on the other side of this, and who am I going to be when that's not who I am, right?
It's a scary thought. It's a scary thought.
Yeah.
Because you're going into a whole new, you have to rediscover yourself. You know what? We should take a brief break, and we come back. Let's actually touch on this. We're going to actually continue this conversation about learning how to start living with yourself again. But before we do that, let's take a brief break. We'll come back. We'll have this conversation. We're going to play a quick video. This is Peyton Parrish, and this is his song "Awoke." We'll be right back, everybody.
I'm not afraid, I'm not alone. I feel my veins desire rage. Before I go, before I fall, you know my name and fear my call. I can feel it. Time feeling. I'm broken, night of the warrior. I'm broken, everything inside of me. I'm broken, fury of madness. I'm broken, this is my final stand.
All right, we're back. I had to go use the bathroom.
Oh, thanks for letting us know.
Yeah, I share. Sharon's caring.
Yeah. I don't care to hear that though.
I have a bladder too. But yeah, I was Peyton at Parrish with Awoken. Good song. Good
Nice.
good artist as well. I'm kind
I
of
don't really get to hear the songs because on my end, even when I tap the, I don't know if it has to do with that I'm on an iPhone or what, but like it doesn't really allow me to listen to it. It's interesting.
That sucks.
Oh, you got press tap sound.
No, even when no, that's what I'm saying. Even when I do that, there's no, like, I don't really hear it.
Yeah, that's weird.
Yeah, it is weird. But I like to watch the videos because then I always go, "Ooh, I wonder what they're really saying in that." I have to go back and rewatch the shows so I can watch the videos.
I like just mixing it up. That I had to go to the bathroom too, but I like putting a music break in there in between our conversation. A lot of the times, for me, it's I forget to go to the bathroom.
Oh, there you go.
See,
I mean, when you gotta go, you gotta go.
Gotta go. And it's live. All thing you can do is put something in
Right.
music video run. Okay, I'll be right back, guys. Anyway, we're talking about learning how to live again. Luna, what are your thoughts about it? How would somebody go about starting over again and learning how to live with themselves again?
Well, I have a few things actually. I came prepared. As we're letting go and moving on, we're exhausted. It's taken a lot out of us to go through these things that we went through and learning how to let go and learning how to move on. I mean, it's not happening in just one day. It's this long span of time, and we tend to lose ourselves a little bit in that letting go and moving on. And it's just really important, I think, to disconnect again, and even if it's just for a day, spend some time like resting and breathing, and when you're doing that, you need to be really gentle on yourself too. I think a lot of times when we've moved on and let go, we still kind of think back sometimes and we get discouraged and we begin to get hard on ourselves.
Now, let me ask you this then, Luna. Isn't that part of the process of learning how to live with yourself again? Yes, you're going to be reminded every day of your past.
Yeah.
But part of your process of accepting, letting go, and moving on is learning to live with those things, right? Regardless of whether you like doing it or not. So does that play in? Is that play into any of your philosophy at all?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's a constant letting go and moving on. Like it's just a constant thing. Like we said last week, you're constantly gonna pick that back up and think about it again, and then you got to let it go, then you got to move on, but every time it gets easier and easier. Right? So and then you got to realize that you are going to have some setbacks during this time that you're spending time alone or breathing. You're going to think about possible setbacks and how you are going to handle those setbacks. And I think a good way to handle setbacks is to have good morals. Like, again, you're going to sit down with yourself and you're going to find something that is meaningful to live by for yourself. Spirituality is a very important part of our lives. It's a thing that keeps us, solid, motivated, and keeps us moving forward. And it doesn't have to be witchcraft. It doesn't have to be, anything specific. It's whatever you want. Like, what is morals to you? Write them down, write a list, and you're going to stick by those. Those are going to be things you're going to carry with you for the rest of your life. And then I think it's important to find a good role model, somebody who is going to influence you to follow these morals. And if you can't find a role model in person, you find this in music, you find it in a Marvel character, you know, a band or something, or a character that you can look up to that encourages you, makes you feel good, like when you're down and having to go through all this process again. You go and you look at this character or this role model and see how they've been through things and whatnot, and how they handled it. I think it's really important to have people around us, not like-minded people, but people who just have, well, experience in what you're going through, right? And then you have to, last thing for me is, you really have to trust yourself and trust the whole process and encourage yourself. You know, I think, okay, I'm done.
I like that. I like what you said, though, because I think part of the process of learning to live with yourself again is experiment with different things that you're not used to doing. We're going out there and exploring different aspects of things you probably would have normally have done even as a child or before pre-trauma, whether it was the addiction. For me, it was just me getting out there and trying new things. Okay, if I got to start living with this stuff, how am I going to take this stuff and start turning it into something positive again? And if I'm doing that, then I'm making myself happy, and I'm finding that peace with myself, saying, all right, so I've done these things. Okay, yeah, they're bad, but look at these experiences. Look what I've taken with these experiences, and look how I've helped so many people hypothetically with my experiences. You know, not everybody gets on there and talks about drug addiction and their journey through it. But at the end of the day, that's helping somebody because they're giving somebody to relate to. I think.
Well, I was going to say, someone out there is going to listen to your story and go, "Oh, dude, I remember being like that, or I've been like that, or I am like that." You know what I mean?
So
I
that's
think also
my process.
Is to also be able to go back and do some of the things that you did inebriated or when you were numbing, and do them sober to have a different experience with it.
That too.
Right, like now going to watch live music, I'm sure is a completely different experience than it was before. Right, you're a huge music fan, right? So now you get something completely different out of it when you go to do those things, right? So finding things that you love to do, like we were talking about, just living again, is find things that you used to love to do when you were younger or as a kid, or even maybe something that you did when you were fucked up or whatever, you know what I mean? And then go experience those again as a different, you know, okay, now I'm not carrying all that stuff, and have a different experience with it.
I took it more for me was a second chance. So I decided I was going to try everything I could possibly. I'm going to try things that I've never thought in a million years that I would do.
Well, yeah, but when someone's really uncomfortable, I'm saying to get it started, right? Like, so, you know, if you can go back and experience something that you already had good, positive thoughts about before and had a good time with, now imagine, you know, like, because we're talking about getting started again, right? Little ways to get started again. If you used to love to roller skate as a kid, go roller skating. You know what I mean?
Guys has a question here for us. If you've been the goody two shoes your whole life, but the crap people keep dumping on you, do you ever feel like going dark? That's a yes for me, and I'm not ashamed to say that I will go dark on somebody. You know, if people can't take subtle hints, then I'll be very blunt about it, and that'll be my dark side. All right, I've warned you about my boundaries. Here we go.
Yeah, well, yeah, because you have to set boundaries. So when we talk about being a goody two shoes, they're usually people pleasers, and so they're always agreeing to everything to the point where they just carry it with them. you have to set boundaries and keep those boundaries. I don't think that's a dark side. I just think
If
that
you want to consider it dark, we can go with that. Yeah, it's very, very
yeah,
dark.
I mean, if you want to call it dark, I mean, I definitely, am usually peace, love, and of course, a little go fuck yourself because
a lot of fuck stuff and then peace and love afterwards.
Yeah, I mean, for sure, you have to be.
I think it's perfectly fine. That's my whole thing. I'm not. That's my whole mantra, right? Is you have to find that balance between your good side and your bad side, and you got to know when to cut it loose and when not to cut it loose. I mean, you have control of whatever it is that's going on in your life. You're choosing to let these people take advantage of you, or you're choosing to tell yourself that you can't. When the reality, all you gotta do is tell yourself that you can, or you look at that person and say, "I've had enough."
Yeah, for sure. I had a student one time say that. She goes, "You're such a cool person, but I feel like you're one of those people I wouldn't want pissed off at me in a dark alley." And I go, "You're probably right." And I went on with what I was saying, because I'm down to have your back 100%, but don't think that I won't slit your throat if I have to. I mean, I don't mean that literally.
Not literally. Yeah.
I don't mean that literally.
We have teenagers
watching.
watching.
Myself, and I will not let people walk all over me. I'm not saying that I would literally do
Raven
that.
Stone says, "When I quit drinking, I kept an empty bottle with a smudge stick. So when I felt like I drink, I would go grab it. I would go to the bottle. I'd smudge in between me and the bottle."
There you go.
That's a good idea.
So now it became a ritual.
Yeah,
that's ritualistic. Like, I want to drink and I'm choosing to not take a drink. That's incredible.
Guys has another question for us. What about going dark in your magic practice? I'm going to be fair with you guys. I don't believe that there's a light. I don't believe there's a dark. I don't believe there's any kind of that kind of magic at all. Magic is magic. It's universal. So at this point, it's not about being dark or being light or being green or being gray. It's about what that person's intent is. If you want to be an evil, conniving bitch, and that's what you want to put out in the world, prepare yourself to get that 7 times back.
Right.
Yeah.
Whatever you put out, you get back. So it's
karma.
What your intention is, for sure.
Yeah. I don't believe that there is a light and dark path.
I don't either.
I think a person's maybe personality can affect magical practice, but that's still at the end of the day their intent, what they're doing. So whatever they're putting out there, whether it's light magic, dark magic, if you're trying to hurt somebody, you're trying to hex somebody, if you're trying to do this or that, then expect to get some of that back.
Well, yeah, exactly.
Because they're in essence curses, right? So curses, there is no one-way street with a curse. What you put out there, you're going to get back.
Yeah, because you're tied to that person, and if you're doing it with malicious intent, then it's going to come back. You're going to get that in some way, shape, or form. It's going to come back out to you. That's why I don't do anything that. I always do it with the best of intent, even if it is to send it back to that person, right?
I'm not bashful. I'll be the first to say I've made some sour jars. I've put people's names in freezers with the total frame of mind of knowing that a little bit of what I'm putting out is going to come back to me, but I'm prepared myself for that. Otherwise, I wouldn't have done it. I've had to do it several times.
Well, and I think there's a difference too between protecting yourself from someone who already is wishing you ill in some way, shape, or form, and binding them to freeze them out of your life or whatever that intent was. And not that, I mean, I've done my fair share, trust me, of things that I have paid for, and because I didn't have such good intention, but also there is to protect yourself as well, right? So sometimes that protection of yourself is to give back to them what they are attempting to give out to others. Sometimes we are karma.
Oh yeah, for sure. But learning to live again can be very, very tricky though, because you have like you said, some of the suggestions that you said, Heather, and you Luna, are very valid. And me personally, for me, my journey, I chose to push myself and try different things. If it wasn't for me doing that, I wouldn't be doing what I'm doing right now. To be fair, I never picked up a podcast equipment before. I never knew what nothing was about, and here I go, just taking off and running with it.
I think that also comes with learning and growing and changing, and letting go of the past, because for some people they can't, like, they have to just sever all of that, right? So when I talked about going back and doing things that were fun, well, for some people they can't go back into that situation. I mean, and I'm trying all kinds of new things just because, like, I never really dreamed I would be sitting doing this or have an opportunity to do this like this. You know what I mean? I think this is incredible. So I think, yeah, but I think it becomes less scary to try new things because we've conquered so much already that I was like, when you said it, I didn't hesitate. I went, hell yeah, let's try this new thing and see how it works. So let's work it out and figure it out. You know, I think we have less fear of trying new things and doing new things because now we're like, look at all the things we've already beaten. And when you've dealt with and accepted all of the shit that you've already gone through in your life, then it's easy. It makes it easier to try new things because they don't seem as scary because you've already dealt with it, like dealt with way worse.
Right. Dexy says here, how about a love spell? Is that part of black magic? For me, this is my theory. You're yes. I think it is part of black magic because you're depending on the spell.
I was just gonna say, I think it depends
on the spell. If it's a love spell for your significant other, and you're trying to spice up your bedroom life or spice up your love life, then I think that's okay. I think where it crosses the line is when you're trying to alter or control someone else's emotions that you have no emotional ties with. And then that teeters on mind control and control of that person, which I think teeters towards the black magic.
I have to agree with you 100% on that.
Yes,
I think if you're doing a love spell to attract your twin flame soulmate, whatever, I believe in, and yeah. I mean, I believe we all have soulmates, multiple, and they don't have to be your partner. The line where they're fanatic. Right, if you're looking for your life partner, and you're putting out a love spell to attract love in general to you, I think that's perfectly okay. I think if you want John Smith to love you and he doesn't have those feelings. Never met you before.
That's creepy. Right. You might want to see some therapist. So they might want to see a therapist.
Well, that too, but just
I want love. I want John Smith to be my husband.
Right.
John Smith doesn't know my name, doesn't know where I live, and we're four countries away.
Right. Like, if you think, if your best friend, you want him to now be romantically inclined to you or she, then yeah, now you're messing with something that you should leave alone.
And you'll probably end up regretting it because you'll get to know the person and then be like, yeah.
Yes, and who they are as a partner.
I've been there.
There you go, right?
Yeah.
Guy says, I believe the intention is what makes the magic. I mean, to send their negativity back. Yeah. That's pretty easy. For me, it's don't give it the time of day. Don't let that seed of thought get in your head, because the moment that you give it power is the moment that it has power, if that makes any sense. Yeah. I've had people come to me and say, I'm going to curse you, I'm going to hex you, and I'm like, yeah, sure you are.
Right. Have fun with that.
Have fun with that. I'll catch you later, though. Nope. Send me a coach chart when you're done. I mean, the moment you acknowledge it and you're saying, oh my God, and you all of a sudden the fear strikes that someone's put a curse on me, that's the moment that they won because they done planted that seed.
Yeah, for sure.
I feel like I need to say something in regards to like a couple of questions ago. I feel like this person is really, really angry and upset. So, like the goody two shoes person. And it's just like, we have to be really careful about how we choose to go dark. I mean, I'm going through bringing the darkness out that I've buried for a really long time and trying to have it become my ally. But I've had some real struggles with that because there have been moments where I said to myself, you know, I'm not going to let anybody walk all over me, treat me terribly, da 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 da. I'm going to speak my mind. Well, I spoke my mind and ended up hurting somebody pretty bad, like their feelings. And I was unaware for a little bit, and I had to go to that person and apologize. And it's just sometimes, yeah, it's great to be angry and lose it sometimes, and set boundaries and speak up when somebody has crossed it. But I don't think that it ever needs to come to a point where you're hurtful and unkind with your words. There's a really great way of telling someone that they're crossing your boundaries, and it's just saying, I have some boundaries and this is one of them, and I feel like you went over the line, like stop. And let it be that, leave it at that. You don't need to add any negativity or, you know.
And we're good about that too, aren't we? We're really good about
yeah.
that. We do that almost like on an everyday basis if you think about it. Going to like a grocery store and you're getting ready to pull into a parking spot to go into the store, and you see one, and here you are driving up to it, and the next thing you know, someone zips from the other end of the lane and zips right into your spot. You're going, you son of a bitch.
Yeah.
It's just a reaction for us, right?
Yeah.
And that kind of goes hand in hand with when we talk about, you know, curses and hexes, or a little bit earlier when we talked about that. It's always important before you do any kind of hexing or cursing that you back away from the situation. You walk away from it for a little bit, whether it's a couple of days, whether it's a week, whether it's a month. And if you decide to go back to it, by that time you have more of a clearer mind of the situation, and you're more settled down. The emotions are tamed, so to speak, and then you can work your magic. Then you ain't got all that emotion, that anger that's happened initially at that person. It's all settled down. Now you have more focus, more intent, and yes, you're going to get some of it back, but it's not going to be near as bad as it would have been if you was doing that immediately when it happened.
Well, yeah, because you're putting that fiery rage of that initial hurt or whatever it is that caused you to want to lash out at them to begin with. That amplifies what you're doing as well, of course. Yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's always good to just take a step back for a minute and make sure that what you're putting out is really what you want to put out as well, right? Because that also goes back to what we were talking about, letting go, and what kind of person do you want to be on the other side of healing and accepting, you know, because, you know, you've been told for so many years, or you've been made to feel for so many years that you are a certain way, that once you know, you get to be whoever you want on the other side as well, right? So as scary as it is to not know who you're going to be, but then you get to decide, you know what, I don't want to be angry anymore. So what are things that I need to work on to make me not angry? Or I don't, you know, whatever it is.
For me, part of learning to live again, for me, well, this is kind of our closing statements for the show for the evening. For me, when it was learning how to live again, it was finding ways that takes all the negative things that was going on that I had in my life from my past, and learning to live with my life, knowing that, yes, I did do these things. I acknowledged them all. I faced them all. I've conquered them all. Now, from this point on, I'm going to start living with these things, and I'm going to I'm learning to teach myself how I can take all these negative things and turn them into positive. In whatever shape or form that may be, that was me finding my way of saying, all right, I'm learning how to live with myself again. It's all right, Sid, that you've made these mistakes in your life. It's all right that you've hurt these people. It may not seem like it's all right at the time, and you've lost these relationships in the past, whether it's family, friends, whoever it is that you hurt during your journey. It doesn't make it okay, but you have to understand that it's all right. It was all part of your journey to get you to this point in life today. Learning to live with yourself again is accepting all these aspects of your life and saying, okay, I did them. I admit to it, and I'm not afraid of them anymore. I don't care what other people think about me because of the things that I've done in my past, because it doesn't matter at the end of the day what these people think about me. I have to live with myself. I have to get up out of bed and look at myself in the mirror and say, Sid, I love you. And I did that for a long time. I just telling myself, I love you. Even though you've done all these bad things in your life, you're turning yourself around one day at a time, one step at a time. These small little steps that you're taking are going to build a big, long brick path to enter your yellow brick road.
Yeah. Powerful.
And that's how I learned to live with myself again. And I encourage everybody. We talked about these first four, the accepting, letting go, and moving on, and learning to live. I encourage everybody to take these steps, but I encourage everybody to take these in small steps. Find little things in your life that you're just not quite happy with, and start working towards those little things. A lot of people, when they want to jump into doing shadow magic, they want to jump feet first. They don't care how deep it is or if they can swim. They just jump right in. Where I completely disagree with that. I appreciate the excitement and the go get 'em attitude, but I'm a firm believer in take things very small, one little step at a time. Because these little steps, like I said, will build this path of success. And at the end of the day, when you least expect it, you're getting closer to nearer to that one certain journey, and you start seeing the fruits of your labor.
Yeah,
the rewards.
Yeah, you don't have to see the top of the ladder to start climbing it.
You're an addict. And you admit to it. Yes, I was an addict. So when you're going through a journey of getting sober and you fall off that wagon once or twice, it's okay. You're an addict. This is part of your process.
Yeah.
Learning to live with yourself, knowing that these are the aspects of who you are. You have an addictive personality. It's established, you know this. So when you fall, don't sit there and look at yourself, I'm a complete failure. Think of yourself as, you know what? I'm a fighter. I'm going to get right back up, and I'm going to do it again. If it happens again, I'll fall down. I'll pick myself right fuck back up, and I'll keep moving right along there again. That's living with yourself.
Just because you sat down in the road doesn't mean that you backtracked to the beginning of the trail.
I agree 100%. Comments
Right?
here. Thank you, Sid. That really helped learning to just forgive myself and my entire family and move on. It's important. Sometimes it sucks because it is your family, and that's what you know. That was your safe place as a child and growing up. That family, that was this. Whether there was bad things or good things going on in your life, that family was your safety net. And sometimes it's hard to do, but sometimes it's one of the most important things that you have to do, because they're the ones that have the if anybody in your life has the most hold over you and the most attachments over you, is your family, because they have every little dirty secret about you they have. So breaking those attachments is absolutely one of the hardest things to do, because you have to do extra work, right? You have to do extra work to disprove all these people that you're not that same person anymore.
Yeah.
I can go on all day.
Other people's opinions of you are none of your business, regardless if they're family or not. That's a huge thing that helped me to get past all of it. Was at the end of the day, I have to be happy with myself. And I wouldn't be who I am today if I hadn't gone through what I went through. So I remind myself that often. And I remind myself to have compassion for myself, because when I go back and look at my story and hear my own self say my story, which some of it is surreal even to me when I say it to myself, I wouldn't be in the position I am today if I hadn't gone through what I go through, because healed people heal people. right? And so now we all find our different ways to connect with people and help other people through their journeys so they don't feel alone and they don't feel like they had to go through what we went through to struggle and feel alone all the time. And so I mean, I think that probably motivates me so much more. And I get to just be whoever I want to be because it doesn't matter what anyone else thinks, you know. It's really actually rather freeing when you come to the conclusion that, like, their life doesn't affect you. It doesn't directly affect what you're doing day to day. So don't allow it to, right?
Don't give it that power.
Yeah, they don't. It doesn't affect. You're not living in my house. You're not financing me, fucking me, or feeding me. And even then, you only get a little bit of an opinion in my life.
Did she just say fucking me?
Yes. I said you were either feeding me, financing me, or fucking me.
Feeding me or wiping my ass, so you ain't got no opinion.
Exactly. You get very, and even if you are doing those three things, I will take your opinion into consideration. But that's about all it's, you know, I will take you into consideration when I'm making a decision. But at the end of the day, I'm the one that has to live with the decision that's made.
I agree.
So be whoever you want to be. And if those people, trust me, if the people that were in your life before do not believe in you, you will find people that believe in you, because there are plenty of people out there that have been in your situation and have healed and grown through it, and they're out there for you. Keep looking for them.
That sounds magical. I was trying to make it more inspirational, didn't you? It was like it
was kind of eerie sounding.
It would kind of remind me of that Sarah McLachlan commercial with the dog.
The dog.
Yeah.
Just dogs, Sarah.
Everybody, thank you for tuning in tonight. We appreciate you guys hanging out with us. I hope you guys are getting something from what we're talking about. These are just random conversations between three friends talking about our point of views and some of the things that we've gone through in our lives. And hopefully some of the things that you guys hear from us, you might take home and bring into your practice or help you get through something yourself. If there's anybody out there, we'll take a quick brief moment. If there's anybody out there that's struggling through something right now or going through something, if you guys need I like a little silent request. This is the part of the show where everybody that's on their phones, we're going to smash the heart buttons out there. Silent. They don't have to be present. We don't have to see the comments. Just feel it in your heart. We're just going to take a few moments while you guys are smashing them heart buttons to send all these requests up. Whatever it is you're going through, just send them on out of there. Send them up for the universe to take care of.
Just send you guys all some just love and light and
so much love and light.
You gotta be. I mean, I'm feeling it, and it's funny because tonight's show I was feeling really drained, and as the show progressed, I started feeling like I was a little drunk. I don't know if it was because of the message, but now here we are at the end of the show, and I'm sitting there like laughing at just random stuff for no reason, like I'm drinking 6-pack of beer or something.
That's what it's all about. It's finding that
you gotta love those moments.
Yeah, love that level of energy of where it's that euphoric feeling. Oh, you are so welcome.
Thank you, everybody, once again for tuning in. We will be back next Sunday, same time, 8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, for another Everyday Magic. We'll be talking about love, and you'd be surprised how many definitions there actually are.
I'm gonna miss the love conversation. No.
You'll be surprised of all the different definitions of love there is. So we'll be talking about that. And we'll be talking a little bit about how to learn how to start loving yourself again, different ways of doing that, and are you actually loving yourself the right way? Until then, guys, you guys have a great week, and we'll catch you guys next Sunday for another Everyday Magic.
Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.